inaugural lecturer, principal officers of the university, and the vice chancellor. The national anthem. Today's inaugural lecture. This is the 273rd in the inaugural lecture series of the University of Benin, to be delivered by Professor Jennifer Aleye Ebeigbe, a notable professor of optometry. Of the topic, from unseen to seen, the eye and the vision of the beholder. May I now invite the registrar, represented this afternoon by the Deputy Registrar Senate Matters, Mr. Oye, to introduce the Vice Chancellor and members of the Vice Chancellor's procession.
this great university. The registrar of this university, Mr. Ademola Pobola, is away on official assignment and he has asked me to stand for him. He sends his greetings. Permit me at this hour to stand on the already established protocol by the public relations officer of this great university and to introduce the Vice Chancellor's procession. Today, the Vice Chancellor's procession is led by our amiable Vice Chancellor, an academic giant. This is vindicated by the recent prestigious award given to her as the African Pillar of Education. She also holds other leadership portfolios. Notably, she is the chairperson Committee of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Federal Universities. She is also the Vice President, Association of African Universities. She has also made an impact in the traditional sector, and she is the Organite of Igara. So I crave your indulgence to present this worthy daughter of the great Benin Kingdom to this audience, Professor Mrs. Linnea Imotinya Sabah. We have other principal officers and other academic leaders who have also made or distinguished themselves and made their mark in their areas of calling in her procession, and I'd like to introduce them. We have first there the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Ray Ozola. We have the Deputy Vice Chancellor Ekewa Campus, Professor B.A. Ayude. We have the representative of the bossa of this great university, Dr. Dominic Echi. We have President University Librarian, Professor Luke Obasli. The Provost of the College of Medical Sciences, Professor W.E. Sado, is today ably represented by Professor Vivian Omwen. The Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, ably represented today by Dr. S.A. Aleye. We have the Dean of Students, Professor A.C. Iwodari. The hosting Faculty of Life Sciences is today ably represented by Professor Mrs. F.R. Idu. We have the representative of the Faculty of Agric, Dr. John Aikodio. The Faculty of Arts, ably represented by Dr. Mrs. C.E. Obaji. We have the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor F.O. Agoraya. Faculty of Education, Professor K.O. Omarukiwa. We have the Dean, Faculty of Engineering, today ably represented by Professor Mrs. P.A. Orugbe. Dean, Faculty of Environmental Sciences, Professor Raphael Eigiato. Dean, Faculty of Law, Professor I.O. Omori. Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, ably represented by Professor A.O. Oladi Ubo. We have the Dean School of Medicine, Professor W. Osarogiago. Dean Faculty of Physical Sciences, Professor J.E. Osereka. Dean Faculty of Social Sciences, ably represented by Dr. I.M. Agedo. We have the Director of the Distance Learning Program, Professor O. Aibovo. We have the Director of Center for Entrepreneurship Development, Professor E.E. Ugiagwe. We have the Director of Center for Educational Technology, Professor H. Oagena. Director of Intellectual Property and Technology Transfer Office, Professor A.E. Ugbenu. We have the Director, Third Form Center of Excellence, Professor Ibudu. Permit me at this juncture to call on our well-respected Vice Chancellor to introduce the inaugural lecturer for today. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 207th church in the inaugural lecture series of the Great University of Benin. Today's lecture is the 45th to be delivered in my tenure as the Vice Chancellor of the University. The 27th in the Faculty of Life Sciences and the 5th in the Department of Optometry. I am pleased to inform you that students have since resumed from the general election break, and lecturers have continued for both new and old students in all faculties, schools, and institutes for the 2021 and 2022 academic session. The online registration for 2022-2023 students commenced on Monday, the 27th of March 2023. I'd like to use this opportunity to thank both academic and non-teaching staff of this great university for their sacrifices and cooperation in ensuring that the academic session continues to run hitch-free. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our lecturer for today. She is Professor Jennifer Aleye Ebeigbe. The title of our lecture is From Unseen to Seen, the Eye and Vision of the Beholder. Professor Mrs. Jennifer Ebeigbe was born on the 12th of July 1971 to the family of Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert Abu Ohimene from Esako local government area of Edo State.
She attended the Aleye Primary School, Benin City, obtaining for her first school leaving certificate in 1983 and West Africa School Certificate in 1988 from Emota College, Benin City. She thereafter gained admission to the University of Benin to study optometry and graduated with a Doctor of Optometry degree in 1998 and also did her mandatory National Youth Service Corps from 2000 and 2001. Professor Ebeigbe had a master's degree in ocular physiology in 2006 and PhD degree in human physiology in 2011, both from the Department of Physiology, University of Benin. She joined the services of the University of Benin in 2002 as a senior optometrist, a non-teaching position, and in 2007 she of course converted to academics, and in 2018 she became a full-fledged professor of this university. Professor Aleye has had several administrative positions within and outside the University of Benin, such as departmental coordinator, timetable officer, seminar coordinator, amongst others. She's also a member of several professional bodies and associations, such as Nigerian Optometry Association, Africa Council of Optometry, World Council of Optometry, Physiological Society of Nigeria, Women Optometries of Nigeria, Voluntary Optometry Services to Humanity, the American Academy of Optometry, USA, in 2009. She has over 50 publications in local and international journals. She has attended several conferences within Nigeria and outside. She has successfully supervised over 80 doctors of optometry academic programs. Professor Ebeigbe has passion for reading, watching movies, and cooking. She is a Christian and married to Professor Peter Ebeigbe, and the union is blessed with 3 children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite Professor Mrs. Jennifer Aleye Ebeigbe.
Madam Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand in the already established protocol and welcome you to the 273rd. I thank God for this wonderful opportunity to be here today to deliver my inaugural lecture. Thank God that the legacy threats did not happen. I was almost having hypertension. I am particularly grateful to God that I get to give this lecture while both my parents are alive. Mama, Papa, thank you very much for coming out. I am humbled by your presence. I want to thank my Bishop Wale. You made it. Thank you very much. I went to him last week and promised he was going to be here. You are welcome, Bishop. And my uncle, Bishop Frederick Okimame, you are welcome. This inaugural lecture in the series of the University of Benin. It's the 5th lecture to be delivered in my department of optometry. It is the 6th inaugural lecture in our field of optometry in Nigeria. You can do the maths. And it is the 2nd to be delivered by a female professor. The topic of my lecture this afternoon is from unseen to seen, the eye and vision of the beholder. And when I say beholder, I'm talking about you, my respected supervisor. I'm talking about you, my uncle bishop. I'm talking about everybody, and myself included. As we are all seated here, different faces from different disciplines, there's something we all have in common, and that is our eyes, isn't it also? We all have our eyes in common. And when our eyes are able to do what they're supposed to do, that translates to vision. So you know the matter that we're discussing today concern all of us. Is that also? Yeah. You are the beholder, I am the beholder. Actually, I have the University of Benin to thank for introducing me to optometry, because before I was admitted, I had never heard that name before. You know how it is with every science student. You know what we all want to read, it is so. But they gave me optometry, and I have never heard the name before. If it was now, I probably would have just Googled it. Is it not so? But I went around, I beg, you know what to be optometry? This one, no. I beg, you know what to be optometry? This one, no. Eventually, I got somebody who explained to me that optometry is all about the eyes, and the people who read optometry treated eye diseases, and they were called optometrists. That's how my journey started. So after I got my OD, I had this desire to continue, and like I always tell people, I don't know business, now only book I know. I had this desire to continue and get a PhD. The desire for a PhD is something I've always wanted to do from when I was in primary 6. Because I heard 2 of my teachers discussing, and one was congratulating the other, whose brother has just obtained a PhD. And I heard her say that PhD was the highest academic degree you can get. And you can imagine how that sounded to a young impressionable boy like me. So I made a promise to myself, saying, that high degree, I'm going to get it. So that was a personal zeal and a personal drive, because way back then, we didn't have any postgraduate courses in optometry. But I went on a journey to fulfill my own personal desire, and that is how I came about a master's and a PhD in physiology. That's one down spirit, because the PhD in physiology broadened my scope and horizon in optometry practice, and that is the path that has led me here today. My research focus is on primary care optometry, ocular health, and endocrinology. I dedicate this lecture to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, to my ever-loving parents, Mr. Gilbert Abu and Mrs. Flores, Omofobi Okimame, and to my very supportive husband and children. Ladies and gentlemen, the first line in our optometric book that we take home from optometry states that next to the gift of life itself is sight. And as we all know, vision is very important. And I'm going to pray your indulgence this evening to carry out a small demonstration. So if you don't mind, I want everybody here, so please close your eyes, just for a few seconds. My distinguished scholars here, so please let's close our eyes for a split second, for some few seconds. With all eyes closed, please close your eyes so that you can better appreciate what we're doing. Close your eyes. Now I know those who know they go church. Close your eyes. So now imagine with our eyes closed. Imagine that this is your reality. Imagine that this is your world. A world where you see nothing. A world that is dark, without light, without color, without beauty, without flowers. I see some people say God forbid. Indeed, God forbid. Please open your eyes. Vision is everything. Vision is everything. It is the most dominant of our senses, and it is very vital at every turn of our life. Our world is built on the ability to see. The newborn depends on vision to recognize and bond with its mother. The toddler depends on vision to master balance and learn to walk. The school child depends on vision to read and to learn. Research tells us that 80% of learning is visual. Young people need vision in order to participate actively in the workforce. And the older ones, like the parents, they They need vision to maintain their independence so that they don't have to stress all their children to be leading them up and down. Not be so. So you see, vision is very important. The eye is one of the most complex and sensitive organ of the body. From time immemorial, we have heard that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But have you ever wondered what happens when the eye of the beholder is not seeing well? Matthew 6:22 says, and I quote, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light." We need our eye to be clear and good in order to see and appreciate beauty in the world around us. Without vision, our world will be dark, colorless, and without beauty, as we have all demonstrated. Optometry as a healthcare profession that is autonomous, educated, and registered has continued to expand its horizons while remaining basically a primary care profession. Optometrists as primary healthcare practitioners of the eye and visual system are tasked with the responsibility of providing comprehensive eye and vision care, including refraction and dispensing, dictation or diagnosis, management of eye diseases, and rehabilitation of visual system conditions. We have come a long way from just examining the eyes and giving glasses when needed to include vision training, now known as vision therapy, pediatric optometry, occupational or environmental optometry, contact lens practice, and low vision care. Optometry has always taken seriously its obligation to detect and diagnose if possible any ocular or systemic diseases affecting vision and to refer the patient for appropriate medical or surgical care. This process of detection, diagnosis, and referral is aided by our ability to use diagnostic agents. Emphasis has been placed in recent years on the optometrist's role as a primary care practitioner or as a point of entry into the healthcare system. Eye conditions are remarkably common. If you live long enough, you will have at least one eye condition, not beside the soft one. It's just we all want to live old. Yes, if you live long enough, it's just a matter of course. It's an aging process. If you live long enough, you have at least one eye problem. Globally, at least 2.2 billion people have a near or distant vision impairment. In at least 1 billion or half of these cases, vision impairments could have been prevented or has yet to be addressed. The main causes of blindness globally are, as outlined in the slide, but I'm going to be talking briefly on refractive error and glaucoma because in the course of my lecture, I'm going to hear me talk a lot about these two conditions. So let me just give us a brief background about refractive error and glaucoma. Refractive error, as the name implies, are errors that occur when light reflected from an object do not come to a point focus on the retina. So this gives rise to conditions like myopia, that we know as short-sightedness, hyperopia, long-sightedness, and astigmatism. Presbyopia is not typically a refractive error, but an age-related decline in the ability of the eye to focus on near objects. And that is why you find for people like us who are older than 40, you find it very difficult to carry out simple tasks like threading a needle. We now have to call our children, or we find that we have to move our reading materials away from the face until we run out of arm's length, like we say in optometry. So most of these conditions can be corrected with the right lenses. Refractive errors can sometimes go unnoticed, especially in children. But actions such as you see a child bringing the reading material close to the face to read, or you see a child using the finger to follow the words as he or she is reading. We call it using the finger as a place marker, or a child squinting, or having to go close to the TV to see what's on the screen. These are all signs of a refractive error, and if you notice any of these, you should have your child go for a checkup. And glaucoma is caused by sustained high intraocular pressure. Intraocular pressure is the pressure that maintains the shape and integrity of the eye. Just as you have your blood pressure, when it is high, they say you have hypertension, and you need to go and have that checked. The same thing too. When the pressure in the eye is high, usually when it's way above 22 millimeters of mercury, what it does is it eats at the optic nerve. The optic nerve is like, should I call it a cable wire that connects the eye to the brain. So as I'm looking at this fan now, my eyes are looking at the fan, but messages are sent through that optic nerve, which I'm calling the cable wire now, to the brain, and the brain interprets it and sends back messages to say, this thing that you're looking at is a fan. This three are looking at is a man and all that. But you can imagine if the pressure in the eye is so high and it damages the optic nerve, flips off and it's gradually, like a beaver and all that, and it's now severed. Once that nerve is severed, it cannot be regenerated. So vision as a loss from glaucoma can never be regained. All we do when we have glaucoma is to try to set the sight as far left and all that. So when the connection between the eye and the brain is severed, you know how it's called like a vacant eye as it were. The eye is staring at something. But because messages are not sent and the messages cannot be received, you don't even know what you're looking at. And that's what gives people with glaucoma. That vacant staring gaze that they have. You just see them doing like this. That is the gaze of a non-seeing eye. Glaucoma usually will not cause pain, so we call it the silent relief of sight. That's what makes it so serious. It is the leading cause of irreversible blindness and accounts for 50% of blindness in Africa. You're gonna clap now. Young children with early onset vision impairment can experience delayed motor, language, and cognitive development despite not consequences. School-age children with vision impairment can also experience lower levels of educational achievements. Vision impairment severely impacts quality of life among adult population. Adults with vision impairment often have lower rates of workforce participation and productivity and higher rates of depression and anxiety. In older adults, vision impairment can contribute to social isolation, difficulty walking, a higher risk of falls and fractures, and a greater likelihood of early entry into nursing or assisted living facilities. These are the areas of my research contributions. Common in Nigeria, but not all of them are due to the bad conditions of the road. In a study on age, vision, and road traffic accidents among vocational drivers in Benin City, who had had road traffic accidents and those who were accident-free, more than 76% of those who had had accidents had poor visual acuity, less than 618, and had never had an eye examination. Age range of 26 to 35 years was a risk factors for road traffic accidents. Poor vision and poor color vision were also found to be risk factors for road traffic accidents. Ebeigbe and Aleye in 2007. Refractive errors are major causes of visual impairment in children worldwide. We studied the pattern of distribution of refractive errors in 616 primary school children in Benin City and reported that 47 had refractive errors. Hyperopia was highest, followed by astigmatism and myopia. Ebeigbe and Moya, 2009. Diabetes is one of the systemic diseases that have ocular manifestations. We reported the case of transient refractive changes occurring in a previously undiagnosed diabetic. This 41-year-old woman came into the clinic with a history of constantly changing her glasses. She said that she had had to change her glasses 3 times in 3 months. And I can tell you for free that one of the things that could bring that about is when the blood sugar level is high. So we sent her to do a fasting blood sugar test. The woman had no proud knowledge that she was diabetic. And the result came out positive for diabetes. Her blood sugar level was through the roof. And so we sent her to a physician for management of her diabetes and told her to return when her blood sugar level was stabilized. Of course, she never returned. And the likely scenario that we have played as the fact that when her blood sugar level had normalized, one of those previous glasses that she couldn't do well with will probably now be adequate for her. So we're not surprised when she did not come back. There is no general agreement. Thank you. There is no general agreement on the influence of diabetes on refraction. Divers reported as to whether hyperglycemia results in myopia or hyperopia. But what is generally recognized and agreed on is the fact that transient refractive changes are common during periods of hyperglycemia. So the prescription of glasses should be delayed until a stable refraction is obtained. This case is a classical case of optometry being an entry point into the healthcare system. Because you can imagine, a woman came to the eye clinic just to have her eyes examined, only for us to discover that she had a systemic disease, she had diabetes, and now to go to the healthcare system. So that's a very good case. Ebeigbe and Aleye in 2000. Down syndrome is the commonest cause of mental retardation worldwide. In Nigeria, children with Down syndrome remain largely stigmatized and neglected. We investigated the ocular health status of persons with Down syndrome in Benin City. Majority of the subjects had poor visual acuity of 618 or worse in at least one eye. There was a high incidence of refractive errors with hyperopia being the highest. Strabismus, nystagmus, and cataract were also detected. Liberal use of corrective lenses is advocated in persons with Down syndrome. Ebeigbe and Aleye, 2006. We carried out a visual screening exercise in the Inaugural community in Obia Northeast local government area of Edo State to determine refractive error blindness in that community. 374 people participated in the exercise. We recorded a 23% blindness in the population. The commonest refractive error responsible for blindness was myopia. This was followed by hyperopia and inadequate correction of aphakia after cataract surgery. Majority of the blindness occurred in the 50 to 59 age category. Ebeigbe and Q, 2006. Madam Vice Chancellor, you will agree with me that vision is a critical aspect of any job. With this in mind, I looked at the visual status of newly employed workers in the University of Benin. I reviewed the record of 2,100 newly employed staff who were examined in the optometry clinic between November 2011 and August 2014. Of the 2,100 records reviewed, refractive error was 25%, with hyperopia being the commonest. Presbyopia, conjunctivitis, and corneal disorders were the main problems recorded. Mandatory routine eye tests is advocated for increased efficiency and productivity. Ebeigbe, 2015. As the last oath-taking ceremony of our new graduate attended by Madam Vice Chancellor, she mentioned that she has been a consistent eye care patient for more than 54 years now, Madam Beasley. You told us you have been wearing glasses for more than 52 years. By constantly having her eyes examined and updating her glasses. Incidentally, the first time I met Madam Beasley was when she came to the optometry clinic to examine her eyes and to change her glasses. Professor Ajayi was attending optometry on that day. And what struck me was that Madam Beasley, well, she was just Professor Salami Blair, came with an array of beautiful frames. I think there were so many, they were close to 10, and the thought that came to my mind is that, this professor gets swag. Don't mind Madam Beasley, I do so too. None of us are wearing glasses all the time. That's how we make it fun. We have to have different array of them. That's the good. But for some people, it is not so. They buy reading glasses along the roadside without having their eyes examined. If I tell you how many times I have had distinguished, prominent personality on my examination chair, and I just ask them the question, sir, man, where did you get these glasses? They will laugh. When they laugh, I know that there's a story coming. And the next day they will say, doctor, I just bought it from one of the boys along the road. I say, and then we just get to buy, but we get that a lot, So we did this study, we gave out questionnaires and did this study. The results are what you see on the screen there. And the long and short after the grammar is that whether you be doctor, professor, marketing, or organizer, all of them join when they buy glasses for roadside, and it is not good. I beg that one for 2021. Glasses are the cheapest and commonest form of correction of refractive error. To achieve this, patients must exhibit good compliance to spectacle wear. Patients' attitude and perception of glasses and eyesight can affect compliance to spectacle wear. We undertook a study to determine the attitude and belief of undergraduates to spectacle wear. A cross-section of the University of Benin undergraduates was used. Their responses included beliefs that glasses were harmful to the eyes, that they would be teased if they wore glasses, that glasses were for old people, and that people like us who wear glasses were handicapped. Ebeigbe et al. 2013. A number of hormones are known to affect intraocular pressure. Of these, the sex hormones are the predominant ones to cause variations in intraocular pressure. We carried out a series of studies on the influence of hormone on vision in Nigerian women in different physiological states. We looked at intraocular pressure, visual acuity, tear volume, and tear stability during the different phases of the menstrual cycle in 100 elderly women aged 20 to 35 years with a regular cycle of 27 to 29 days. The women were examined for 3 consecutive cycles and mean values were computed. 100 pregnant women women were also followed up throughout the course of their pregnancy, from the first trimester to 6 weeks postpartum, to determine if variation in sex hormones in pregnancy affected the intraocular pressure and other parameters like visual acuity and refractive errors. We see from the table here, first of all, that there were significant changes in intraocular pressure, in tear volume and tear stability across the different phases of the menstrual cycle in the non-pregnant women. Also reported is the fact that intraocular pressure was lowered in pregnancy than it was in the menstruating women. And we also noticed that intraocular pressure reduces steadily. Intraocular pressure reduces steadily and significantly as pregnancy advances, with the lowest mean intraocular pressure. But by 6 weeks postpartum, as you can see, the value of the mean intraocular pressure begin to rise close to extra value. And we concluded that pregnancy significantly affected intraocular pressure, and that hormonal variations during the different phases of the menstrual cycle influences intraocular pressure, tear volume and stability in healthy young women of reproductive age. These changes may be clinically significant, particularly in contact-less areas where fluctuations in ocular parameters may alter the contact-less fit, leading to a possible change in comfort and perhaps reduce visual acuity. We publish our results as Ebeigbe et al. 2011A, Ebeigbe et al. 2012, Ebeigbe and Ebeigbe 2012, Ebeigbe and Inaugural 2013. Having reported that intraocular pressure decreases as pregnancy advanced, we investigated this further to determine if this non-ocular hypotensive effect of late pregnancy is affected by parity. Parity is the number of times a woman has given birth. So the pregnant women in their third trimesters were divided into 4 groups depending on the number of times they have, the number of children they have had. Para 0 for those, para 0 are the oviparous women, those who were pregnant for the first time and they don't have any, they've not given birth to any children. Then para 1 are those who are pregnant for the second time, they have already had 1 live birth, and so on. And we can see from this chart here that mean intraocular pressure was significantly reduced in the group of multiparous women than it was for the oviparous women. We concluded that parity might have an influence on intraocular pressure. However, further investigations are needed to ascertain if parity should be considered as one of the physiological factors that influence intraocular pressure. Ebeigbe et al. 2011b. During menopause, a changing hormone profile in the body causes important shifts in the body. Sorry, I'll take that again. During menopause, a changing hormone profile in the body causes important shifts in the levels of sex hormone. A woman is termed postmenopausal when she has not had a period for at least 1 year. We sought to determine if the cessation of the menstrual cycle and diminished levels of hormones in menopause affected intraocular pressure. Postmenopausal and premenopausal women were used for this study. Intraocular pressure was measured and serum level of progesterone, estradiol, and testosterone were determined by hormone assay for all subjects. No significant changes in IOP was recorded. However, we reported a positive correlation of intraocular pressure with estradiol, Ebeigbe and Ebeigbe 2013. We also studied the effect of hormone levels on tear volume and tear stability among postmenopausal women. This is because the onset of dry eye is very common during menopause, and this has been linked to loss of hormonal support. Dry eye syndrome is a common disorder of the tear film, and it affects a significant percentage of women. A stable tear film with normal flow is essential for preserving the clear cornea. When the tear film becomes insufficient to support the surface of the eye due to a lack of production of tears or decrease in stability of tears, dry eye syndrome occurs. We see from this table that tear volume and tear stability were significantly lowered or reduced among the postmenopausal women than it is for the premenopausal women. And we also reported that tear volume and tear stability correlated positively with progesterone and testosterone. Evidence suggests that poor uptake of available eye care services by potential beneficiaries is a major barrier to attaining universal access to eye care. We sought to determine the factors that prevented utilization of eye care services in some rural communities in Edo State. 68% of the sample population aged 40 to 75 years had never had their eyes examined. Females utilized eye care services more. There was a significant association between level of education and eye care seeking behavior of the sample population. Main barriers to seeking eye care were felt need and cost of treatment. Ebeigbe and 2014. The eye care seeking behavior of parents for their children has a role to play in increasing or reducing the prevalence of childhood blindness. Knowledge of parents' awareness and perception of eye problems is important in helping to understand parents' eye care seeking behavior. We recruited some parents and engaged them in focus group discussion and in-depth interviews. Parents were selected based on those who sought eye care for their children and those who did not. Parents were more likely to seek care from manifest conditions than from conditions they could not perceive. A family history of ocular disease and repetitiveness of complaints from the child facilitated parents to seek eye care for them. Cost of eye care services, getting time off work to take child to the clinic, as well as long waiting periods at clinic were reported as barriers in Ebeigbe 2016. Majority of the parents were aware of most common eye problems, but 40% of them had never sought care for their children for any eye problems they have had. Half of the parents preferred drugs to prescription of glasses for their children. 40% thought night reading and reading with poor lights were the causes of refractive errors. Watching too much TV and eating too much carbohydrate food were also deemed as causes of refractive errors. Glaucoma eye drop was the most common drug used for any eye problem before visiting a doctor. Ebeigbe and Ebeigbe 2016. What we have come to discover is that glaucoma eye drop is like the bubble shape of eye care. Yeah. Most patients would have used glaucoma eye drop for any kind of eye problem they have before visiting the eye clinic. It's like a one cure for all eye problems. If you ask them, people tell anything this eye, glaucoma eye drop. Self-medication is a practice that occurs worldwide, and it is encouraged by advertisements that ends with a warning. You all know the warning. And it says, if symptom persists, do what? If symptom persists, do what? Yes. So people are encouraged to first use the advertised drug and only to seek professional help when the symptom persists. So we looked at the pattern of self-medication used by patients before visiting the optometry clinic. In a sample of 505 subjects, 52% reported self-medicating. Majority use a manufactured product, while others use homemade preparations. The most frequently used products were chloramphenicol, again, or gentamicin, and homemade preparations were mainly herbal solutions and anointing oil. For those of us that go to church, we must put anointing oil for everything. Itchy, redness, and pain were the commonest eye conditions that were medicated for. Ebeigbe and 2011. Closely related to self-medication is the patronage of traditional eye medicine practitioners. This is a very common practice in Africa. However, there are concerns about the harmful effects of some of these traditional medicines on the eyes. 68 traditional medicine practitioners who treated eye conditions in Benin City were interviewed. Conjunctivitis, itching, and poor vision were the commonest conditions treated by them. More than half of them had never referred the patient to Orthodox hospital. Couching was done by a third of them in Ebeigbe 2013. I remember a case of a young girl that had conjunctivitis, what we generally like to call Apollo. And one of these TNPs told her to use her early morning ring because it was supposedly, is it organic? There was a funny word that they used, because it comes out from your body. It is supposed to be, I don't know the word that they use and all that. And unknown to this day, she had a sexually transmitted infection at that time. And so at the end of the day, when she came to the Apollo, we're trying to cure it again. We're not trying to save the eyes because they got really badly infected. So we sent her to the ophthalmologist to help treat the condition. It was really very bad. Madam Vice Chancellor, it is generally advised that there are 3 persons who must never lie to your lifetime. People like, the names that I put in my head, unfortunately they are not here today. But maybe you can still take a guess. People like Professor Sado, Professor Morui, and Professor Isien. Have you guessed? Your doctor, lawyer, and pastor. But we know that is not always the case, is it? Safe and effective treatment and management of patients depends on honest and open communication between the doctor and patients. Untruth and manipulation of information leads to distrust, and this can compromise eye care. A study on truth telling and patient diagnosis in optometric practice showed that more than half of the sample population had lied to their doctor at one time or another. Common lies told were mainly about age, onset or duration of condition, medications used prior to their visit to the doctors, and compliance to medication. Others were about health status and social habits like smoking or drinking. Reasons for telling some of these lies included fear of early retirement from falsified data on government records, stigmatization and embarrassment from being caught in a previous lie. Ebeigbe and Benin, 2022. I remember the case of the patient I was seeing once, and I kept trying to get a prescription for him, but his arithmetic was not adding up. The maths was not, the numbers were not adding up, and I kept telling him, "Oga, you sure say don't tell me your real age? I need your real age to be able to give you something that is adequate for you." And then the next thing this man said is, "Put there in joint." I said, "Put 20." He said, "Doctor, I have to enjoy." You know, I said, "Well, you mean the whole 10 years?" That was the longest I've had. The test was not 2, 3, 4. But this was the first time I had to 10. I said, "Well, you know the whole 10 years from your age?" And he laughed. He said, "Madam, that is where we get our national cake from. If you don't do it like that, tomorrow they'll say you don't wish to retire. And they'll retire you." I had to tell John, if you treat me well. The remarkable success of antimicrobial drug generated the misconception that infectious diseases have been conquered. However, infectious diseases remain the second leading cause of death worldwide. A study on the plastic profile of bacteria isolated from the tears of HIV/AIDS patients sought to determine the presence and transfer of plasmids in bacteria isolated from the tears, their sensitivity and resistance to commercially available antibiotic eye drops using the disc diffusion method. 3 multiple antibiotic resistant strains of Staphylococcus aureus and 4 multiple antibiotic resistant to Pseudomonas aeruginosa were identified. Only 1 strain of Staphylococcus aureus showed presence of plasmid, which was not transferable to Escherichia coli, Aleye and Ebeigbe, 2009. Ophthalmia neonatorum is a form of conjunctivitis occurring in the newborn and occurs during the first 28 days of life. It can be a leading cause of blindness in newborns. A common practice among mothers is to instill breast milk in the eyes of their babies when they are born with eye infection. We carried out a study to determine if colostrum, the first flow of breast milk, has any effect on organisms implicated in ophthalmia neonatorum, and to compare the effects with that of gentamicin eye drop, a commercially available antibiotic. The difference in sensitivity of the bacterial isolate to gentamicin and colostrum was significant. For all organisms sensitive to gentamicin, the inhibition in both started after 2 hours of incubation of the antibiotic disc in the culture media and lasted for 24 hours. But for colostrum, sensitivity started 2 hours after incubation and inhibition lasted for just 6 hours. We concluded that the antibiotic effect of colostrum on ophthalmia neonatorum is to suppress the infection for a while, after which the organism continues to grow. Ebeigbe recycled 2010. Pediculosis papillarium is an infestation of the eyelid by lice. Due to the similarity in signs and symptoms of pediculosis papillarium to nephritis, the conditions can easily be misdiagnosed. Eyelid infestation by lice is not common, so when we saw one, it was worthy of report. A 53-year-old woman with chief complaints of eye irritation, itchy and gummy pains in the mornings of 1 month duration visited the eye clinic. She had been treated for eye infection with eye drops and ointments before coming. Despite the drug given, the eyes were not improving. Slit lamp examination revealed live lice and nits attached to the skin and lashes of her eyelid. The nits and lice were removed with forceps, and cotton wool soaked in methylated spirit was used for debridement. She was asked if she had any history of pubic lice, as this was the commonest cause of eyelid infestation. She was advised to apply Vaseline to the eyelid twice daily for a week, and was counseled on the need for treatment of sexual partners and close contact to help prevent further spread of lice and re-infestation. The need for foaming such as pillowcases, bed sheets, towels, and has to be washed in hot water and dried was stressed. When she returned to clinic a week later, the eyelids were clean and quiet. Ebeigbe resided in 2019. Leprosy has the highest incidence of ocular complication of all systemic diseases. The prevalence of leprosy in the world has been estimated at 10 to 12 million, and the number of individuals with deformities at between 2 to 3 million. Leprosy is one of the leading causes of corneal hypersensitivity, and cataract has been shown to be a major cause of blindness among leprosy patients. We investigated the profile of ocular lesions observed in institutionalized leprosy patients. Majority of the patients had multiple lesions. A quarter of the patients with ocular lesions had leprosy for more than 15 years, and these were mainly with the Infectious group. Madarosis and lagophthalmos were the commonest lesions. There was no significant difference in prevalence of ocular lesions between gender, and no significant difference in prevalence of different ocular lesions in patients with lepromatosis or tuberculoid leprosy. Ebeigbe and Q, 2011. As part of our community outreach program, we established some self-examination sites, also known as vision corridors, in some selected public primary and secondary schools in the Northeast government area. Vision corridor is a World Health Organization initiative and is aimed at increasing awareness of eye problems, increasing access to eye care services, and knowledge of essence of good vision. Basically, what happens here is that the same chart you read when you come to the eye clinic is painted on the wall in a public space. That's why we usually use either public primary schools or public secondary schools, because these are schools that usually are not first strand, or could use a town hall building. We just paint that same chart you read when you come to the eye clinic. We paint it on the wall, and the instructions on how to use the chart is also printed alongside the chart, so that you can, by your own, examine your own eyes and know how it is. And then just like we try to simulate the clinical setting, just like in the eye clinic, your eye test is done at 6 meters. So there's usually a marker, like you see the woman in the picture. She's standing at a specific place. I'm sure there'll be a stone there or something to mark that this is where you stand. And so you stand there, and the first instruction says to cover your left eye so that you can read with your right eye. And then the next instruction says cover your right eye so that you can read with your left eye. Just as we do it for you, or we ask you to do when you come to the eye clinic. And then there's usually a place where we mark with a red marker. And the next instruction says, if you cannot see the letters below the red line, go to the nearest eye clinic. So you by yourself, you don't test your eye. So you know how the eye, whether it's good or no good. So usually this will make them run to the clinic and say, that's the one I put forward. I see it, so I couldn't see below those lines and all that. And perhaps there are people who are able to read everything. And they feel good knowing, my eyes are correct and things like that. So a lot of people were able to have access to this, and they came to the eye clinic. People who ordinarily would not have access to eye care, but because of something like this vision corridor, where you can examine your eye by yourself, you now find them, you now have a motivation or a reason to go have their eyes checked. Another thing that this vision corridor brought about the fact that just like when people come to, most people are not aware when something is going on with one eye. You know, usually we just open our two eyes and we are walking up and down. You understand? So it is usually when they come to the clinic for the first time and they need to cover us, now doctor, this eye, let's say, you know, we pay you, no, you don't pay me. And so a lot of people from this vision corridor came and said, doctor, that thing what I put for war, I don't know, say this eye, I don't see again, they were not that. And then some people also discovered that the vision in one eye is not as good as the other. I can see some people doing like this. It's a good thing, do it. I do it too. Yeah, it's a good practice once in a while. Just focus on some place and do like this and see whether both eyes are clear. Sometimes you can do it and you notice by yourself that I see this one clear past before. Not this one. And that will prompt you to come to assess eye care and all that. So this program initiative was very good while it was up and running. You know, we had a lot of people come into the clinic because they saw it at one place, strategic place for the other. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of them when the state government renovated public primary and secondary schools because they were painted over. Madam Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is where I get to say, praise the Lord! Praise the Lord! First, I want to acknowledge the grace of God upon my life. Without Jesus, I will not be here. As a young girl of 18 who thought God was a great inconvenience, I stand before you all to testify that the Lord has been good to me. At 18, I thought I had my life all figured out, and Jesus Christ was not in the picture. But when you know, you know. The Benin will say, no, no, sir, and if there's anything good in me, it's because of Jesus. For almost 34 years now, I have no regrets about the decision I made or the path I have chosen in life. So to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I say thank you, sir. I thank our beautiful and amiable Vice Chancellor, Professor Aleye. Yes, clap now, clap at the beginning. I thank our beautiful and amiable Vice Chancellor, Professor Aleye, for this opportunity to present my inaugural lecture during her tenure, members of our management team, and principal officers of our great institution. Life Sciences, Professor Ebeigbe, Ebeigbe, Osumbo, Inaugural, Okaka, and our current Dean, Professor Jerry Owe. My colleagues are members of staff of the Department of Optometry, all my teachers from primary to postgraduate level, my teachers and colleagues in the Department of Physiology, my second department, especially my most respected supervisor, Professor Ebeigbe. Which is stress me too much, I'll go to physiology. I hope you welcome me. My elders and senior professors from other departments in the Faculty of Life Sciences and other faculties in Univen, I say thank you for opening your doors to me, for all the advice, the directions, and the ideas and knowledge you shared with me. You made my journey easier and faster. Thank you. Lecturers and staff of Delta State University, Agraka, and Delta State University Teaching Hospital, I see you all. Thank you. I thank my students over the years, especially the ones I learned a thing or two from. I appreciate all my bishops here. Bishop Fred Dahosa, thank you. I know how you are. Bishop Wale Ajayi, told me how to go for. I thank my uncle, Bishop Frederick Okimame. My brethren from Church of God Mission, Bowers 06, led by my pastor, when your pastor is a professor, you have to step up. Members of the Christian Men Fellowship International Board branch, there's only one color I'm seeing here that I'm missing. That is yellow. Members of the Nigeria Optometric Association, Edo State Chapter, I thank you all. Members of the Christian Union Alumni Association, UTH, all of you who call me Jennifer, all of you who know me as Sister Jennifer, I salute you all at the real MPs. I appreciate my parents for their love and support throughout the years. My brothers, Mr. Thomas Okimame, Edward Okimame, my sister, Mrs. Amy Obolomini, my in-laws, Mrs. Cynthia Okimame, Mr. Nimaro Obolomini, Dr. Nicholas and Nancy Ebeigbe, Mr. James Anneka Chiemeke, Mr. Sayende and Dr. Kate Okofo, my uncle Bishop Frederick Okimame, who first sowed the seed of salvation in me as a young child, my parents in the Lord, Bishop Festus and Reverend Mrs. Julia Himian, the husband of my youth. Honey, please stand up and take a bow. Thank you for loving me the way that you do. Thank you for challenging me to be the best version of myself, for encouraging me along the path that I got today, for being my favorite cheerleader. When I count my blessings, I mention you twice. My children, Brian, Amanda, and Noel, I love you very much. Thank you for being God-fearing, a wonderful and God-fearing children. Madam Vice Chancellor, I have attempted in the last 40 minutes or so of this lecture to draw our attention to the need for us to be intentional and involved in our eye health. If we are to change the narrative, it requires the combined and proactive efforts of all stakeholders to fully integrate eye care within national health services, especially at the primary health care level, and to ensure that the eye care needs of more people are addressed through prevention, early detection, treatment, and rehabilitation. The eye and vision of the beholder cannot be left to chance. In the words of Benjamin Franklin, the eye of the master will do more work than both his hands. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the inaugural lecturer deserves another round of applause. Thank you very much. May I now respectfully invite the Vice Chancellor for a recap of the lecture.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am sure Jenny and the husband of wonder why I also call her Jenny. But Jenny has actually delivered a wonderful, wonderful message. But I am checking something, and you women, because she has said to us that during pregnancy, we tend to have less eye issues. All of you here will get pregnant. Thank you, the medical professors that are present. You are ever so wonderful. In fact, we are going to give you double emeritus. And those in the making too, I see all of them. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've listened to a wonderful lecture. She has told us that the eyes actually are affected by the aging process. And that we tend to see this either when you see accidents happening and the individuals would probably not even know that they've actually hit your vehicle when they come down to say, did you reverse back or I was moving forward? And so we've seen a lot of that. And then she has also said that the two major issues that she was going to pin on reflective errors and refractive errors and glaucoma. So the lecturer has established that uncorrected refractive error is a major cause of irreversible blindness in children and adults with constant use of glasses, being the cheapest and the most convenient form of correction. The lecturer also revealed that hormonal variations during the different phases of menstrual cycle influences intraocular pressure, IOP, tear volume, and stability in healthy young women of productive age. Pregnancy was shown to significantly affect this pressure that reduced as pregnancy advanced. The established hypertensive effect of late pregnancy was also said to be significant in multiporous women when the multiporous are more than the monoporous women. These changes may show more during glaucoma screening and especially when individuals use contact lens. The lecturer also stated that parents' behavior of the care of their children's eye has a role to play in effective increasing or either increasing or reducing childhood blindness. Those who use self-medication or tribal medicine also affect eyes and the wellness of such. Safe and effective treatment and management of patients' eyes depend on the honesty and open communication between the doctor and the patients, because eye care is affected negatively when patients are not truthful with their doctor. The lecturer also calls for increased efforts of all stakeholders to fully include eye care within national health services, especially at the primary health care level, to ensure prevention, early detection, treatment and rehabilitation, and also calls that the useful vision corridors must be reinstated and encouraged. Thank you, distinguished ladies.
The Vice Chancellor will now declare the inaugural lecturer. Please invite the immediate family members and the spouse and children of the inaugural lecturer to please come on stage as the Vice Chancellor deliberates the inaugural lecturer. Please come on stage. Faculty of Law. We welcome Professor Josiah Dapona, former Dean of Life Sciences. We welcome the University Orator, Professor Michael Morales. We also welcome you. Please don't get to clap for them. We acknowledge and welcome you, Professor Ebeigbe, the former Dean Physical Sciences. We also welcome you, Professor Mrs. Olamisi ICM. We also welcome you, Professor Mrs. Ijoba P. Obo. We also like to make welcome to this place, Professor Ebeigbe. We also welcome Professor Elvis Agbola, Director of Sports, University of Benin. We also like to make welcome Professor C.E. Okaka, former Dean of Life Sciences. We welcome to this place the University Admission Board Chairperson, Professor H. Bowry. You're welcome back. We welcome all members of Church of God Mission International Incorporated. Especially we welcome all members of the Christian Women Fellowship International, which is Church of God Mission International Incorporated. Everyone, you're highly welcome. We are happy and glad that you are here. I think the weather is telling you something that you should not wash away. Just relax. University of Benin, we are very good with hospitality. Just